What is going on, guys? Welcome back. In this video today, we're going to build a customized stock watch list in Python. So let us get right into it. Alright, so we're going to implement our own custom stock watch list in Python today, and this is what the final result is going to look like. We're going to have a simple text box, and here we can put in some ticker symbols like AAPL for Apple, for example, like MSFT for Microsoft, for example, like GS for Goldman Sachs, for example, BA, I think, for Boeing, and then we get these, this watch list here with the ticker symbols, with the last close price, with a timestamp, with a change in absolute dollar values and a dollar amount. We get the percentage change, we get the high, low, and volume of the respective days. So this is basically a place where you can store or you can list all your stocks, and you can keep track of them, and you can keep track of the daily changes. And of course, I can also remove them here easily by just clicking at these buttons. And this is what we're going to build in this video today. And of course, you can add some more features to it. You can customize it if you want to, but this is going to be the simple start of such an application. All right, so we're going to implement our stock watch list as a Flask application in Python today. And for this, we need to make sure that we have two external Python packages installed. One, of course, is going to be Flask, so pip or pip3 install Flask, and also yfinance, which is the package that we're going to use to interact with the Yahoo Finance API to load the stock information that we're interested in. So install these two packages, and once we've done that, we're going to set up the structure for our application, for our project. And we're going to need two separate Python files. One is going to be the app.py file. This is going to be the Flask application itself. And the second one is going to be the utils.py file, which is going to contain some functions that allow us to save and load the watch list. It's a JSON file that is going to allow us to get data from the Yahoo Finance API and process it. So it's going to be the functions that we use in our applications, but we want to separate them here into files. And we're going to also have a templates directory with the index.html file and a static directory with a style sheet, so with a CSS file. So let us go ahead and first create these two directories. We're going to say make directory templates and make directory static. And then we're going to also start by creating the app.py file. Now, I'm just going to define the two endpoints here without actually implementing code yet, because I want to start by implementing the utils.py file, because we're going to use the functionality from it in the app.py file. So let's start here with the imports. From Flask, we're going to import Flask. We're going to import render template, request, redirect, URL4, and Flash. Now, to briefly explain these imports, Flask is going to be the application itself. Render template allows us to render HTML files instead of just strings. Request is going to allow us to distinguish between post and get requests, and redirect and URL4 are going to be used in combination to redirect from one endpoint to another one, or also to the same one. And Flash is going to allow us to just display messages when we do something. So either something has failed, or something has worked, or something was already part of the list. So these messages are going to be transmitted by using Flash. Then I'm going to define the application here to be equal to Flask __name __, and we're going to set some basic secret key here just to be able to use Flash. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, for example. Of course, in production, use a proper key. And we're going to define two routes here. One is going to be the index route, where we're going to also be able to create new items or to add items to the list. And the other one is going to be the remove ticker endpoint. There we're going to be able to remove items from the list. So we're going to say app.route / so the default route, it's going to take two types of requests. So methods is going to be equal to get and to post. And then we're going to say def index, and we're going to just pass for now. And then down here, we're going to say app.route remove, and then ticker. That is going to be the remove endpoint with a ticker parameter here. So that's going to be the basic structure. And of course, in the end, we're going to say if __name _ is equal to main. Then we're going to say app.run debug equals true. All right. So that is the basic structure. Now let's go ahead and create our utils.py file. I'm going to just create it here and we're going to open it. And in here now we want to have two functions, or actually three functions. We want to have the save watchlist function. We want to have the load watchlist function. And we want to have the fetch stock data function. And this one here is going to take a list of tickers as a parameter, and this one here is going to take a ticker symbol as parameter. And we're going to also import up here JSON, and we're going to import yfinance as YF. All right. So the first thing we want to do here is we want to define a constant that is going to point to the path of our watch list. So watch list is going to be equal to, in my case, watchlist.json. You can call this whatever you want. And the idea is if we have a list of tickers, we just want to write it as a JSON file. So we're going to say with open watchlist in writing mode as f, and then json.dump tickers into the file. That's basically the save watchlist function. For the load watchlist function, we have to do basically the same thing. We have to do a try except around it because maybe the file does not exist. So with open watchlist, or actually we could do this also more professionally by saying if OS path exists and so on, but let's just do it like this. Watchlist, and then in reading mode as f, we're going to say that the tickers is going to be equal to JSON load, and then it's going to be the content of the file. And then we're going to return tickers if this works. Otherwise, if this fails because of a file not found error, we're going to just return an empty list. So this way, what we can do is if we don't find the file path, if we don't find watchlist JSON, we can just still return a valid list, which is just going to be an empty list. So we can use this as a default case as well. Now, the interesting part happens here now in the fetch stock data function. All we have to do here is we have to make a request to the Yahoo Finance API. So we're going to say try. The stock is going to be yfinance.ticker, and we're going to pass the ticker symbol here. And the data is going to be the stock.history. The period we're going to look at is 1 day, because we're only interested in the change within the last day of trading. And now we're going to say if not data empty, so if we actually get something, otherwise, you know, you could have entered an invalid ticker symbol, or you could have empty data for any other reason. If you have some data, we're going to say that the row we're interested in is the last row, so the last price. So data ilog -1, the last entry. And from this row now, we want to get a couple of metrics. We want to get, first of all, the closing price. So we want to say data dot, or actually not data, sorry, row close. We want to get also the high and low. Actually, let me copy this. So we're going to do it like this, low, low. We want to also get the volume. Actually, the rest now is going to be calculated in a different way. We also want to get the previous close price. The previous close price is going to be part of the info dictionary of the stock. So previous close price is going to be stock info get previous close. And in case we don't find it, we want to just fall back to the price. And then we want to say the change between the price and the previous close is going to be price minus previous close. And the percentage change, so change PCT, is going to be equal to the change divided by the previous close times 100. If, of course, the previous close is not 0, so if previous close checks if it's 0 or not, otherwise just 0. And then the date time is going to be the result of using formatting. So we're going to say row name, which is going to be the date, and we're going to format the time in the following format. We're going to say year dash month dash day, and then hour colon minute colon second. So just a basic timestamp here. And then we're going to say that the return dictionary, return data is going to be the following. We're going to say that the ticker is equal to ticker. The price is equal to a formatted string where we're going to say dollar and then price point to F. We need a quotation mark here. We're going to say date time is equal to date time. We're going to say change is equal to change. I'm going to say change percentage is going to be equal to change percentage. And then for the high and low, we're going to use the same formatting as for the price. So we're going to just copy paste this. We're going to change this to high. We're going to change this to low, this to high, this to low. And finally, also for the volume, we want to say volume is also like this, but the formatting is going to just be separated by these, or the thousands are going to be separated by a comma. So that's the data, and now we just return it in the end. So return the return data. If for some reason the data was empty, we're going to just return nothing. So return none. And if we get an exception of any kind, we're also going to return none. So there's not going to be any stock data. That is our utils py file. Now we can use all of this, and we have to use all of this now in our app.py file. We're going to say for this from utils import load watchlist, save watchlist, and fetch stock data. And we're going to use these functions in our endpoint now. The basic idea of the index endpoint is we're going to say load the tickers first. So load watchlist. This is going to give us either an empty list the first time or the already existing list. And we're going to say now if the request method is a post request. So if we're trying to add a new ticker symbol, we're going to say that the ticker is going to be part of the post request. So request.form.get. We want to get the ticker from the form. We want to turn it into an uppercase string, and we want to strip away all white spaces and so on. And then we're going to say if there is no ticker symbol, so if not ticker, we're going to use Flash to show a message. We're going to say please enter a ticker symbol. This is going to be error of type error. Otherwise, if we do have a ticker symbol, we're going to say data is equal to fetch stock data for this respective ticker symbol. And we're going to say if the data is not none, so if data. And if the ticker is not already in tickers, then we're going to add it. Then we're going to say tickers, append, ticker, and we're going to say save watch list with this new list of tickers now. And we're going to say Flash, formatted string, ticker. Let's keep the messages simple here, add it. And this is going to be success. Otherwise, if the ticker is already part of the list, we're going to just flash a simple message saying ticker already in list. This is going to be a simple info message. And if the data is none, if we don't have any data, we're going to flash an error message. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say here, and we're going to say if there is no data, let's say problem with this ticker symbol. And we're going to say error. Now, in the end, no matter what, we're going to say if we're going to redirect in the end to our index. So we're going to say return redirect URL for and then index. This is just going to get us to this index endpoint, but to the GET request part of it. And this is going to be the second part now. This is going to be the else branch. We're going to say otherwise, if this is a GET request, stock data is going to be an empty list. What we want to do is we want to say for ticker in tickers, get the current data. So data is going to be equal to stock, fetch stock data of the ticker. So every time we load the page, we're going to get all the data again from the Yahoo Finance API. If data, we're going to say stock data or stocks data append data. And then we're going to, in the end, return render template index.html with the parameters stocks is equal to stock data. So that's the basic idea. If we want to just look at the list, we fill up this list with all the ticker symbols. The ticker symbols are always loaded in the beginning. If we're adding a new ticker, we're trying to load it. We're trying to check if it's already part of the list. If it's not part of the list, if we get some data, then we're going to append it to the list. Now for the removing, it's not too difficult. All we have to do is we have to say tickers is equal to load tickers again, or load watch list again. And then we're going to just say if the ticker I'm trying to remove is part of tickers, I'm just going to say tickers.remove that ticker from the list, then also save the watch list, and then flash a simple message, a success message, that this ticker was removed. And otherwise, we're going to say that this was not part of the list, not in list, error. And in the end, we want to redirect to index again. That is basically our Flask application. This is our whole logic. And the only thing missing now here is an HTML file that can respond to these and interact with this backend and with these endpoints here. So we're going to go into our templates directory. I'm going to create a new file here, index.html, and this file is going to have a form on it, and it's going to allow us to interact with the backend, and it's going to list all the ticker symbols and all their information in the frontend in the HTML file. Now, as always, for the CSS file, I'm just going to copy paste it and upload the code to GitHub because I'm not going to spend time explaining CSS. Every time I show CSS in my videos, it's generated by ChatGPT. And you know that already because I really don't care about writing CSS code. So let's get started with a basic blueprint here with a boilerplate code HTML. And then we have head, and we're going to have a simple title. And this title is going to be stock watch list. And we're going to say that we want to link to a style sheet that we don't have yet. So it's going to have a specific path. This path is going to be URL4 static. And the file name is going to be equal to styles.css. So that's just linking to the style sheet, which we're going to add here in a second. And in the body now, we're going to have the interesting code. This is going to be our table and our form. So first of all, we want to have a section for our flash messages. So for this, we're going to say curly brackets, %, and then with messages being equal to get underscore flashed underscore messages with underscore categories equals true. So this is for our info, success, and so on. If we have a message to be displayed, so if messages, what we want to do is we want to say for category and message in messages, we're going to say diff class equals flash and then category. This is going to be CSS styling here. We want to show the respective message. So the idea is we want to have green for success, blue for info, red for error, and so on. This is all going to be CSS. For this, we just need to take the category and we need to make sure it's included in the class so we can design this properly. And then we're going to say end for. I don't like the fact that this is not recognized right now by my NeoVim because usually it is. I do have a plugin for Jinja, but right now it doesn't recognize it for some reason. I think maybe because, let me just double check here what happens if I open this as, yeah, now it works. Okay. So if messages, and if, there you go. And then we also have, of course, end with. All right, so this is just a section for our Flash messages. Then we're going to have a form with action being equal to obviously URL for index. So we're posting to index. Two curly brackets, there you go. Then method is going to be equal to post. That is going to be the form. And in this form now, we just have a simple label. This label is going to be for a text box or for an input type text called ticker. And we're going to enter the ticker symbol here. Then we're going to have input type text, and name is going to be equal to ticker. And the ID is also going to be equal to ticker. And then we're going to say that this is also required. And down below, we're going to have an input type submit. Submit, which is going to add this to the list. So we're going to say value equals add, let's say add stock, or actually it doesn't have to be stock, so add ticker is fine. And that is our form. This is basically just what allows us to do the post request, and then the interesting part all happens in the table. So we're going to say if we have some stocks to display here, actually maybe I should call this ticker as well, but now I called it stocks. So let's say if stocks, if we have some stocks, we're going to display them as a table. So let's close this off with an end if already. And we're going to say now that we want to have, first of all, the table header. So we're going to say, first of all, table. In this table, we want to have a T head. So table head. In this table head, we want to have a table row. And in this table row, we want to have multiple TH elements. And we're going to call them ticker. I'm going to call them ticker, last, date, time. We're going to call them change. We're going to call them change percentage. We're going to call them high, low, volume, and action for the removal. And then we're going to define the table body, tBody, which is going to include all the information. So here we're going to use a loop. We're going to say for stock in stocks, we want to display the information. So here we're going to also already add an end for. And we're going to say table row, and each table row has the following data. Table data, it's going to be the stock.ticker. And it's going to be the stock, what did I call this? Price, date, time. It's going to be change and percentage change are going to have some color styling. So I'm going to add them here, but we're going to also have to change the style here. So change and change percentage. And then we're going to say also high, low, volume. And here we're going to have now a button, so a link actually, which has the reference URL for, this was remove, and the ticker is going to be equal to stock.ticker. And it's going to have, something is going wrong with my typing today. It's going to have the text remove. And for these two now, we want to have some color change. So we want to actually show them in different colors depending on whether they are positive or not. So we're going to say that the class of this table data is going to be positive, or actually let me use double curly brackets here. It's going to be positive maybe use single quotations, positive, if the stock change is larger than 0 or greater than 0, else it's going to be negative if the stock change is less than 0, and else it's going to be just nothing. And we're going to format the change in a certain way. We're going to say here $%, or actually not percent, dollar, percent, $% point to f, and we're going to say the change is going to be rendered into this. Now let me copy this actually, and we're going to change this to change percent here. We're going to change this to change percent here, and we're going to change this to change percent here. And we're also going to say that this will have a percentage symbol afterwards as well. So this is going to be %% here. That should work. Now let's remove this, of course, and I think that's it for our table. The only thing that we need to do now is we need to say afterwards if we don't have a table, we're going to have an else branch here, which is going to just display a simple paragraph saying no tickers in list. And now the thing that we're going to copy is going to be the style sheet. So I'm going to just create the style sheet here. I'm going to add it to static, so styles.css. Actually, I didn't want to open this in a tab. There you go. So we're going to open this up. I'm going to copy and paste my code here from the prepared code. Again, I'm going to put this on GitHub. But that is the CSS styling. So we have some basic classes here for the different messages, for the different types. Again, this is ChatGPT generated. I didn't want to spend any time working on CSS. And if I didn't make any mistakes, which is usually difficult because usually I make mistakes, we should be able to just run this now and see it working. So Python 3 app.py, run this, open this in a browser, and let's see what happens. AAPL, add ticker, works. Let's go with NVDA. Let's go MSFT, BA, Goldman Sachs. I don't know, is there a company? Let's just try something. HL. I'm sure HL exists, right? Yeah, there you go. I don't know what HL is, but... And if I try to do something that does not exist, it will tell me that it didn't find the symbol. So problem with this symbol. And I can also remove them. Actually, I cannot remove them. Interesting. Okay, save watch list requires tickers. Obviously, I seem to have not done that properly. So let me fix that briefly. Where am I calling save watch list without tickers? I'm calling it down here. So save watch list tickers. And let's run this again. Let's go back. Now the list should still be existing because we wrote it into a JSON file. And now I should be able to remove the individual positions here. And we can see that all of this is tracked in a JSON file, watchlist.json here, just a list of the ticker symbols. And this is how it works. So this is how you can build a simple stock watch list in Python. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you learned something. If so, let me know by hitting the like button and leaving a comment in the comment section down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell to not miss a single future video for free. Other than that, thank you much for watching. See you in the next video and bye.